Well, we provide solutions for nitrogen loss, and so if you look at our main source of nitrogen is urea, whether that be granular urea or liquid UAN. And so, in a no-till environments, we're looking at a lot of surface applications. And so, for ammonia volatilization to occur, which is prevalent with urea applications, we need three things to happen. So one, we have to have the source, urea, we have to have the urease enzyme, and then we have to have moisture. And so if you're looking at a no-till environment, we have the moisture because we're trying to manage the residue and conserve moisture. So we have a lot of times we have moisture, and we have to have the urease enzyme. And that urease enzyme is prevalent in the soil and in plant residue. And so in no-till environments, again, we have a lot more plant residue, and that urease enzyme is more prevalent in that plant residue. So we have an ideal environment for ammonia volatilization. And so a lot of our research has shown that we can have up to 40% loss of that nitrogen due to ammonia volatilization. So Agrotain is a urease inhibitor that blocks that urease enzyme and slows down or stops that ammonia volatilization. So, we key up, we try to get more of that nitrogen into the plant and be more efficient. Yeah, well, if you look at Super U fertilizer, it is a pre-granulated urea-based fertilizer at 46% nitrogen. It contains two active ingredients. It has the urease inhibitor, which is the active ingredient in Agrotain, and it has a nitrification inhibitor. So it's going to give you protection against all three forms of nitrogen loss. So the urease inhibitor is going to protect you against ammonia volatilization. The nitrification inhibitor is going to protect you against leaching and denitrification. So we see more leaching losses on our well-drained soils where we have excess moisture, and we see more denitrification that occurs on our poorly drained soils where we have excess moisture, saturated conditions, and ponding. And so those are the places where if you want to protect against all below ground losses in all three forms, you would use Super U or Agrotain Plus. Agrotain Plus is a dry formulation that is that we specifically use in liquid UAN solutions. So the regular Agrotain Advanced 1.0 is going to give you protection against ammonia volatilization. Agrotain Plus, Super U, is going to give you protection against volatilization, leaching, and denitrification. Yeah, great question. There are a lot of tools that are on the market today that are fairly new. So we got crop models, we have remote sensing, where that be with UAVs or satellites imagery, and we have a lot of new university recommendations. And all their goal is to get closer to that optimal nitrogen rate, which is really what we're looking for. So that saves the farmer money. It reduces the amount of nitrogen that may be in the environment, and so that is important. We want to get that optimal nitrogen rate. But as we get closer to that optimal nitrogen rate, it's even more important to protect that nitrogen. So, in the past, right or wrong, if one of our practices was to over-apply nitrogen and to cover up for those losses. So if we applied 30% more nitrogen than we needed, and we lost 15% of that nitrogen, we didn't really affect yield. As we bring those nitrogen recommendations closer to that optimal nitrogen rate, and we put on, say, 10% more nitrogen than what we really need, and we lose 15% of it, we started to lose yield, and that's going to affect yield. So it becomes even more important to protect that nitrogen from loss. So. Yeah, well, we like to come into this event because, one, we get the voice of the customer. We get to talk to so many no-till farmers from all over the world, not just here in the United States. So we get to hear, what they're doing on their farm, what are their concerns, and we're all about providing solutions to those farmers. So we listen to them, try to provide solutions. We do that with trying to reduce nitrogen loss. And so if you look at no-till in general, it really aligns with a lot of our ideas. We want to grow as much food as possible, and we want to do it in the most environmentally friendly way and sustainable way. And that's a lot what we do here at Koch Agronomic Services. We want to, provide solutions for that farmer to grow their most amount of crop possible, maximize yield, but reduce their environmental risk.